The Tyler mayoral election is Saturday. Downtown Tyler and all of its construction has become a topic of discussion in the race. It's largely thanks to a candidate named John Nix, who's been vocal critics of much of the ongoing projects. And earlier this week, Mayor Don Warren defended the project.
Tonight, KLTV7's JD Conte hears from the other three candidates in the race on their thoughts about the project and what they would change, if anything.
4 candidates are asking Rose City residents to make them the next mayor. Amid the race, the Tyler Square and downtown are getting a facelift. Until then, work continues, and not all of it's been perfect.
He's had to go meticulously slow because they've run into things hidden underground that we didn't know about, and if he could have, hit that, it could have been a problem.
James Wynn is a city councilman for District 4. On Tuesday, Mayor Don Warren defended the project after criticism from candidate John Nix.
Poor planning, poor management, and I think you can see that.
We spoke with Nix on Tuesday. Much of his criticism centers on delays and what he says is a failure to support shops and restaurants seeing fewer customers. Democrat Shirley McKellar is a former councilwoman.
It was always, what can we do to make sure that these businesses don't be affected so greatly that it would affect them economically.
The city is investing $31 million into the square. Most of that is infrastructure and sewer costs. It's being paid for by the half-cent sales tax. That's what Councilman Stuart Haney calls it. An investment.
Increase our quality of life. How do we increase our sales tax base? Then how do we make downtown our destination? It kind of unfolds from there with what we can do.
Another topic of discussion, these. Current plans would turn downtown Broadway from 4 lanes to 2, adding roundabouts. Nearby streets like College and Ferguson, which are currently one-way, will go 2-way. Haney says local businesses wanted a more walkable downtown.
To do that, you have to slow down traffic. And the pass-through traffic that may be there have to divert it to other avenues.
Not far from the square, the city is also working on a consent decree project, federally mandated sewer work. This map from November shows the extent of downtown work. Mayor Warren has said the sewer work couldn't wait.
Do it all at once. Take one big hit. It's painful. I feel sorry for the businesses downtown that have had to put up with the constant construction.
All 4 candidates share hope for downtown.
People used to just drive through downtown. They never really stopped. So I believe this is going to bring more traffic and more business to downtown Tyler.
JD Conte, KLTV7 News.
Election day is Saturday. Polls are open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m.